Awesome, guys. We are live. Welcome to the webinar this evening. This is Matthew Harris actually coming to you live from Homestead, Florida. So it's a little bit south of Miami. Got some interesting weather going on. It's not quite as pretty today as it can be in South Florida. Eileen and I have been traveling around. We were in LA last week. Just got over jet lag a couple days ago. So it's been a really, really crazy last couple of days, last couple of weeks for us, traveling all around. So fired up to do this webinar because I know a lot of guys have been asking about, haven't done a webinar in a while, what's going on? And quite frankly, that's simply because of the internet challenges we were having at our place in the Dominican Republic. And so I wanted to put out a lot of content, wanted to be able to kind of share with you guys what's working for us in our business. But it's frustrating when you try to hop online and you have all the technological problems that we were having. So since we're in the United States of America right now, one of the blessings of this country is high-speed internet. We figure we'd take advantage of that and give you guys some great content tonight. So let's go ahead and get started. Welcome again, everyone, to the webinar. My name is Matthew Harris. This webinar is going to be recorded, and I'm not sure when we'll be able to make that available to you guys, but that doesn't mean that you don't want to just skip out right now. You definitely want to stay to the end. I've got something special for all of you guys. Definitely want to pay close attention. But I'm going to share probably in the next 30 to 45 minutes. We're not going to go forever, but I'm going to really jam a lot of content into a short period of time to show you how to triple your income in 90 days or less. And of course, that's if you're already in a business. If you don't have a business of your own, definitely stay on and take notes and get inspired about what's possible. But this information is definitely for folks that are already in a business, or maybe you are looking for one. You're trying to figure out a way to increase your income, and so this information can still help you, but you'll definitely need a business to be able to help you do that. But either way, welcome to the webinar. First things first, let's talk about some, not ground rules, but let's just talk about some of the introductory stuff we want to talk about. First off, I want to encourage all of you to take notes, to write down what it is we're talking about. We've got some very high-level content to share with you, and you want to write it down. And I've been studying a lot about the mind and how the mind works, and it's amazing to realize that we actually forget most of what we hear. Most of what we hear goes in one ear and out the other. And as students of business, as students of success, one of the things that makes sense to me anyway is that if we want to improve our station in life, we need more information. And that's why you're here for this webinar, for this information. But it's not just enough to have access to information. We have to be able to process it and to remember it. So by taking notes, you actually increase the chance that you'll remember information by 40%. 40% is huge. So definitely take advantage of that. Take notes wherever it is, whether it's on this webinar, whether it's on a conference call, whether you get to spend time with someone who has the results that you want. You definitely want to take notes and learn from them. Also, if you haven't already liked my Facebook page, and if you aren't already following me already on Facebook, you definitely want to go to facebook.com/wealthwithmatthew and click like. And also subscribe to get notifications. We share a lot of different training resources and inspiration every single day, not only just about how to build a successful business, but really how to create a lifestyle of freedom, of being able to travel around. If you didn't know this, my wife and I spent the last 3 months living in the Dominican Republic on the beach. It was an absolutely incredible experience, and I'll tell you more about that a little bit later on. But so we share insights like that from around the world. So definitely make sure you like me on Facebook. And so also, let's learn and have some fun together, all right, if that's okay with you. So what we're going to focus on in our time together are 3 things. I'm going to do my best to run through all 3 of these in the short period of time that we do have. But we could spend 3 days on what we're going to talk about. So I'm going to do my best to really, really focus on the most key areas of all these 3 factors, but they're really powerful stuff, guys. Number 1, what key activities to focus on in your business. When I talk about a webinar that's going to be full of content about how to triple your income, I don't necessarily mean how to triple the time you spend in that business. That's a key distinction. So there are certain things you can do in your business that will increase your income. What are those activities? We're going to talk about that, what to focus on. Number 2, specifically, how to triple your income in 90 days or less. I plan to deliver on that promise. And number 3, the exact blueprint to follow so that you can also go out there. As soon as this webinar is done, be positioned to take massive action and also triple or even quadruple your income or whatnot. But you'll have a roadmap so that you're not confused. And the confused mind does nothing. And so I don't want to confuse anyone tonight. I want to give you an actionable plan. And if you're anything like me, that's what I was looking for early on in my career. When I first got started in business, I was just trying to find someone who could show me the way, who could show me what to do. And so I was fortunate enough to find people that had the results that I wanted. And I spent a lot of time around them and learned some things from them that I've been able to apply to my business and my life that have made a big difference. So for those of you who don't know me, that is me, Matthew Harris, in the picture right there. Actually on the beach that we lived on for the last 3 months. It's a beautiful beach called Cabarete, on the north coast of Dominican Republic. Here's my story, really simple. I'm originally from the country of South Africa, moved to the United States in the year 2000 with my family to pursue the American dream. And like most kids, I was told that the key to success would be to go to school, get good grades, and get a good what? Get a good job, right? You've probably heard the same advice yourself, or maybe you've given that same advice to other folks. And for me, my experience with that advice was not unlike what a lot of other people in the last 10 years have started to experience, that whole go to school, get good grades, get a good job, and you'll be able to live the rest of your life with financial means and security and all that, and benefits and all that kind of stuff. It didn't work out that way for me at all. When I graduated, I actually had over $40,000 in debt in student loans. And so I was a little bit above the average in that area. Above average is always a good thing. Not always a good thing, I guess. The average student graduates today in the United States with over $27,000 in student loans. There's never been a time like this ever where a generation of people starts their life indebted the way that my generation has been. And so I thought that was just me. And I was frustrated by that, and then it took me a year to actually find my first job. It was not easy finding that first job. And I finally got that job, and it was barely enough to even pay my student loans every single month in terms of what I was making my paycheck. So I was working 9 to 5, more than that. I was on call pretty much all the time for my job, and it was frustrating, but it's better than nothing. And I found out what nothing can look like pretty quickly, because that company actually went out of business right around the time of this little thing called the recession. If you guys remember that back in 2008, we saw probably the biggest downturn in our economy since the Great Depression. At least that's what the government has told us. And I was one of those who actually experienced what it was like to lose their job because of those kinds of circumstances. Moved in with my uncle in his spare bedroom, had no backup plan, no savings, no job opportunities, because now I didn't have enough real job experience, so nobody wanted to hire me. Had no car, but I had a lot of frustration now. Now my American dream had pretty much turned into a nightmare. But I made a decision. That was a turning point for me. And if you're going through any challenges right now, if you've had any challenges in your life, if you haven't had any yet, maybe I'm going to be the first person to tell you this, but definitely it's not necessarily the kindest news, but it's very important that you understand this, that life is not going to be easy, that you're going to get wind blowing on you, regardless of what goal you may have for yourself, or what expectation you have for yourself. It's not so much the blowing of the wind that's going to determine where you end up if you focus on the set of your sail. That's really what determines where you get to go. Most people end up just being knocked around by the winds of life, and that's the easy thing to do. The hard thing is to make a decision that you're not going to be knocked around by life, that you're going to live the life of your dreams. And I know that you wouldn't be on this webinar right now if you weren't in the position of making that decision for yourself, or if you've already made that decision for yourself and you're looking for information and training to help you get to where it is that you want to go. But for me, that experience was the turning point for me, because I decided that enough was enough, that I was going to take my financial future into my own hands, and I would become an entrepreneur. And that's where my journey started. And I wish I could say it has been easy, but it's nothing but easy at all. My first goal was to be able to make enough money so that I could marry the love of my life, who's pictured with me in that slide in front of you, Eileen. What happened was my job fell apart, her career fell apart at the same time, leaving both of us with no income, and we were engaged to be married, and we're about 8 months away from our wedding. So our first initial goal was just to be able to make enough money to pay for our wedding. And we were able to do that. Actually, we became 5-figure monthly earners in less than 90 days of starting that particular business. It wasn't easy, but we learned some things that definitely helped us grow an income pretty quickly. And our life changed. We were able to pay for the wedding, and we were able to start our life together, which was really cool. That wasn't the end of our story. We've gone on to become 6-figure earners in the industry and love this particular profession of not only being an entrepreneur, but being entrepreneurs from home. And so from us, we decided, since we work from home, why don't we just take our home with us, and started traveling. And so spent the last 3 months living on one of the most beautiful beaches that we've ever been to in the Dominican Republic, hanging out with some incredible entrepreneurs that also were, they were retired, so a lot of them a lot older than us. A lot of wealthy people seem to kind of accumulate to this area, so we really, really enjoyed our time up there. But just even the simplicity of life, of being able to get up when you're done sleeping, and be able to walk around and just have it, taking a slower pace of life was something we really, really appreciated in a big way. So we were able to live the lifestyle of our dreams. And I'm not saying that to impress you, but to impress upon you the simple fact that if you make a decision that your life is going to turn out a certain way and you back it up by massive action and you implement some very simple techniques that you're going to learn on this webinar, you can definitely achieve some amazing things. But our success story has not been without its challenges. And I'm going to be real with you guys about what it really looks like from behind the scenes. Everyone wants to talk about the Super Bowl championship, or I'm a Miami Heat fan, so I definitely don't want to talk about the finals with the San Antonio Spurs. But everyone wants to talk about the championship, or having climbed the mountain, what it's like to look down from the top. But not a lot of people share the reality of what it's like to actually climb up that mountain. Matter of fact, you never reach the top in business. At any point when you sit back and try and take a break or the rest on your laurels, you pretty much find that if you're not growing, you're dying. And so you definitely want to keep pushing forward. And so for us, early challenges were this. First off, we were in the NFL. We're in the No Friends Left Club. We had tried a lot of different opportunities trying to get our to be above water so we could actually make some money. And those opportunities didn't turn out pretty well. I don't know if any of you guys have ever tried any other opportunities or different businesses that didn't work for you, right? And then you call your friends that you'd already called about previous businesses, and they look at you kind of funny, right? I was in the last deal with you. It didn't work out. Why should I look at this? You know, that's where we were. For us, no internet. We had gotten a little behind on life, really behind on life, and lost our internet connection. Had to go to Panera Bread to steal their internet connection. We were literally on the doorstep of homelessness, guys, when we really got started and got serious about our business. We had no warm market left. I'd actually moved to a new town to start my life with Eileen. She hadn't been there for that long either, so we didn't have a very large warm market close to us. And with the communication challenge we had, that made another even more of a challenge. No money, of course. No money is always a bit of a challenge. Like I said, we were definitely facing some big odds. But things turned around for us. And if they could turn around for us, they could definitely turn around for you. And today I'm blessed to be able to work with entrepreneurs from around the world and to be able to teach people how to make quantum leaps in their home-based businesses so they can make more money in less time and really live the life of their dreams. And I wanted to share with you our story so that you get the sense that if it could happen for us, it could happen for you too. But also so that you know that I'm not talking about stuff that I haven't done. I found to my own disappointment that a lot of people that I followed or tried to learn from were people that had never really done what they were trying to teach me how to do. In 90 days, we've transformed our life. In 90 days, we went from nothing to $13,000 a month. Different 90-day run later, we went from nothing to over $30,000 a month. And so we've seen what it's like. It doesn't take much time. You can do it very, very quickly. I'm going to share with you from our experience what it's like to really focus for 90 days and really crush it, really crush it. We're actually in the middle of a 90-day run right now. We decided that our goal is $90,000 a month. $90,000 a month is something we want, and every single month, and then grow from there. That's our next goal that we're looking at, and we're on a big 90-day push to completely transform our business. So I'm going to be sharing with you things that we're doing right now, even in our business. But there's some things I've learned along the way that did not work, and I'm going to share with you those as well. I learned that going to door to door is rough. I've learned that not everyone opens their emails. All right, we also leverage the internet a lot to build our businesses, but just because you have a big email list doesn't mean that you're going to be able to build a massive business. Also, taking out ads, online or with traditional media like TV and radio, it's difficult to monetize and it's really expensive. And cold calling is difficult as well. Actually, that was one of the worst things I ever tried. We tried everything, leaving cards on cars to try and prospect for our business. And in today's world, consumers are more informed than ever, so we definitely have to adjust our strategies as we talk about this 90-day run. So, how do you triple your income in 90 days or less? Let's talk about this. There are three main areas that we're going to focus on right away as we get into the content tonight. Number one is goals. Number two is discipline. Number three is strategy. Three things that you've probably heard about before, but I guarantee you've never heard about them or them talked about the way that I'm going to be talking about them this evening on this webinar. Let's start with goals. And yes, I know you're probably shaking your head right now. Oh yes, I've heard all about goal setting, and you've got to have positive thinking. I've read all the books. I read Think and Grow Rich. I read The Magic of Thinking Big. I've read all the positive thinking stuff out there. As a Man Thinketh, all this other stuff. And yes, I've read those books too. But I will tell you this: if you fail to plan, you quite simply plan to fail. Just because you might have heard about goal setting does not necessarily mean that you know how to do it. Just because my previous job, the only job I've had since college, I was around football players. That was my job. I worked with NFL players. I looked at their playbooks. I saw their lifestyle. I managed some of their affairs. I saw their incomes and all that kind of stuff, their expenses. Just because I was around them, that did not mean I was an NFL player. So just because you maybe have been a student of success and maybe studied goal setting, or think you've studied it, doesn't necessarily mean that you've mastered it yet and that you really know how to achieve in life what it is that you want. And that was something that was really tough for me to realize, because I've grown up around goal setting. My dad's been listening to Amway tapes since I was like 12 or 13 years old. And so I was around this stuff forever, constantly listening to this stuff. Whenever we would go, grew up in South Africa, he was listening to Amway tapes, believe it or not. That's what I grew up around. So I've heard all of this stuff. Heard all of it. And I thought that I had it pretty well figured out. But when I started to look at my life and try to take my business to the next level, and I wasn't hitting my goals, I started to realize that maybe I didn't really know how to set goals the right way. And so I'm going to share with you an incredibly powerful system and methodology to apply to your business as you look to take your business up several notches in the next 90 days. And it starts with goal setting. You can't hit a target that you cannot see. And if there's anything I've learned in my own life, especially when I woke up on a beach in the Dominican Republic after having planned and set it as a goal for a long time, and we finally were able to achieve it, when the reality hit me, I realized once and for all, and I'm sure you'd agree with me like this, and if you don't agree with me, I'll definitely challenge you to open your mind up a little bit. But if the truth is, if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. Do you agree with that? If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. I believe that believing is seeing. It's become so clear to us when we look at the trajectory of our life. Every time that we've had to make something happen, we've sat down and put together a specific plan. Circumstances never worked out the way that we expected it to, but when we hit that goal, it was almost exactly the way that we had envisioned it to happen. The BMW, when I got a BMW, it was a dream car of mine. Literally the exact same color and exact same year we were able to pick up. Even sooner than I had set down on my goal. I had a goal card, and we'll talk more about how to set proper goals, but that's a fundamental piece. Now, do we hit every single goal that we set? Absolutely not. But I know for a fact that we wouldn't achieve anything if we didn't set goals properly. So I know I'm really hitting the nail on the head several times here, but I want to make sure we drive this point home that you need to set goals. Absolutely. So why goals? They give you purpose. They give you direction. They hold you accountable. Have you ever told somebody that you have a goal for something, that you're going to accomplish something by a certain date, and you told other people? How did that feel? You ever had that experience where now you're, man, I've gone public with this thing. I kind of have to do it since I told all these people I'm going to do it. Now, just the act of setting a goal, when you do it properly, helps you hold yourself accountable. And we'll talk more about that as we go. And now, also, goals help you design your life. As human beings, one of the unique things about us that we're able to do is to impact the world that we live in. We shape it like no other creature on this planet. Like nothing close to humans when it comes to shaping. Just ask the Amazon, right? If you see the trees getting knocked down, it's sad to see that. And that's for good and for bad. I'm talking about the good here when I say you can set a goal to shape your life to be a certain way. When you do it the right way, you have a very strong opportunity to make your life to be what it is. Now, there's a lot of myths that go around this stuff too. That myths like working hard is all it takes. I know a lot of hard-working people that are broke. Just like setting goals, it's just not enough to set goals. You got to do it the right way, but that's not enough either. And there's also people on the other side of the coin that say that setting goals is silly. It is if you just say, oh, I'd like to do this one day, and I hope that this will happen. Friends, hope is not a strategy. And so when you start to take hope, you actually have to have a lot of hope for the future. and to have a positive attitude of what's possible, but you also have to be pretty pragmatic. And so it's a fine line between just hoping that something's going to happen and making it happen. That's what we're going to do in this 90-day run together to help you triple your income over the next 90 days. It has to be something that is a must. If it's not, then it is silly. If it shoulds, or think like I should go to church more often, I should go to the gym more often, I should take more of my own nutrition products more often, I should get up earlier in the morning, I should do a lot more in life. But the things that are musts, we do. I must eat. If you ask my wife, I must eat. I'm not the kind of person you want to be around if I haven't eaten in a while. It's not a good situation. I must breathe. We breathe, right? And so you have to make sure that when you're setting goals, that you're not just setting some pie in the sky, something that you'd like to do. It has to be a must. That's what keeps goal setting from being silly, quote unquote. There's also this myth that goals are too big. Look, there's footprints on the moon right now. Literally footprints on the moon right now. I don't know if any of you can remember or have ever seen, maybe on YouTube, or maybe you were alive at the time when the United States put men on the moon. And that was a goal that that was set up by a great leader in our country, and saying, listen, we're going to put a man on the moon. And people thought he was crazy. And it was done. It was accomplished. Nelson Mandela said this. He says, everyone thinks it's crazy or it's impossible until it's accomplished. There is no goal too big if it's a must and if you're willing to follow through and take massive action and have a specific plan of action. And there's also myths that go out there that are just silly, like you'll jinx yourself. I don't even get into that at all. Now, write this down. Are you guys with me so far? Are you guys getting this? You can create the life that you want. You have the power to do that if you're willing to follow these simple steps for setting goals. It's so simple, but they are really, really powerful. When we started to apply this concept to goal setting, that's when things started to click into place for us. It's to create SMART goals. It's an acronym for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound. You guys get that? So specific. It's not enough to just say that I want to make more money in the next 90 days. Matter of fact, it's not enough to just say I want to triple my income in the next 90 days. You've got to be very specific about what that is. What would tripling your income be? So if you make $1,000 a month, then let's get specific and say that you'd be making $3,000 a month by the end of the next 90 days. If you're making $500 a month right now, let's be specific and say that you'll be earning $1,500 a month by the end of this next 90 days, all right? It also must be measurable, and when you make something specific, just by definition it becomes measurable, but so many of us don't track what it is that we're looking to achieve. We set a New Year's resolution, that's what most people think are goals. We set these resolutions, and resolutions, when you say the word resolution, it's resolute. It means to be set fast is what the definition of resolute means, as it's unchangeable, it's unwavering. But so many of us don't have enough personal integrity with ourselves that when we spend the time to write a goal, we just write them down like the same thing that we do every single year. Oh, this year is going to be my year. I'm going to lose weight this year. Or in my case, I'm going to gain 15 pounds this year. This is my year. This is the year I'm going to make 7 figures. This is the year I'm going to make 6 figures. This is the year I'm going to make $40,000 in my business. This is the year I quit my job. Or all this kind of stuff. And we go through that process every single year, right? And then by the end of the first month of January, we've already forgotten what our goals were, or what I should say our hopes were, because those are not resolutions. Resolute is something completely different, and by the time we're done with this training, you're going to understand exactly what that is, and you'll have some resolute goals for yourself. But when we measure our goals, or what we think a lot of times are goals, we measure them by whether we hit the goal or not. That's not what it means when you say measurable. It means, did you measure the activity that you took? How much effort did you put in towards actually hitting that goal? Did you get 70% of the goal accomplished? Let's say your goal is to make $100,000 and you made $10,000. Now what most people would do is they would go through the end of the year and think, oh man, it was a terrible year, I missed my goal. Okay, you may have not made $100,000 for the year, but you made $10,000. You have to look at that and take courage from that. It's not like you didn't get anything done. And by building on those small milestones of measuring your progress, measuring your activity, the magic of goal setting starts to kick into play for you. Achievable as well. We just talked about setting, about putting man's footprints on the moon and how big of a deal that is. And when it says achievable, what that really means is based on achievable, really in my mind, simply comes down to meaning what it is you fully believe you can achieve. But here's the key part. You fully believe to the point where it's done in your mind, where you get up in the morning and that goal is done. When you go to sleep at night, that goal is done. You breathe, eat, sleep, like your whole existence is set on that goal. That's when things start to become real. We're not talking about hope here, guys. We're talking about an obsession with your goal. And a lot of times we're told, yeah, I'm sure you'd agree with me on this, right, that obsession is a bad thing. But there's a lot of people that have achieved incredible high levels of success, and they were all obsessed. That's how they got to where they were. Michael Jordan, one of the most obsessed people with the game of basketball that he ever played the game. He's one of the greatest to ever do it. You can go anywhere in the world. The people that typically achieve the highest level of success were absolutely obsessed with that goal. Now, achievable means then that you're also going to take the action that goes along with it. And if you have not taken action yet, then maybe, and your goal is to make $100,000, and maybe last year you didn't even pick up the phone to make some dials to talk to your prospects. You haven't gone to the training. You haven't followed through. That means to me that you don't believe strong enough just yet, because our actions follow the level of our belief completely. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that $100,000 is out of the question for you. So you can look in the mirror and start to judge based on what you've done. That doesn't mean that you couldn't change radically. What kind of goals do you have for the next 90 days? I want you to start thinking about that as we go through this training. Start to write those down, all right? You got the pen and paper? Write it down. Make it specific. Make it measurable. And think about what are you willing to put into it. And if you've put down a goal and it scares you, that's a good thing. All right? That's a good thing. But if it puts you to the point where it depresses you, where you don't think it's possible, then that's not the goal you should be running for. All right? Does that make sense? That's what the category of achievable means. Relevant. It has to be something that's relevant to what you really want. You know, there's people that say, oh, I'd love to drive a Mercedes-Benz, simply because all their friends drive Mercedes-Benz. They want to impress their friends. But honestly, what they really want is a BMW. Hint, hint, clue, clue. You guys should all be driving BMWs. I love BMWs. But don't do it to impress me. Do it because you want to do it. It has to be relevant to you, specific to you. You know, I have friends of mine that have grown up their entire lives basically in careers that their parents wanted for them. And that's not necessarily a bad thing if they enjoyed it, but I'm talking about people that absolutely hated those careers, and they just did it just because. And so they never feel fulfilled in their careers. You want to make sure that it's something important to you, exciting to you. Otherwise, you're not going to follow through and take action. And also then, last but not least, and this is probably the, outside of your goals need to be specific, you need to have a deadline. It needs to be time-bound. Things don't get done unless they have deadlines. When I graduated from college, man, it was crazy. I did 27 credits in 3 months. That's like a whole year of school that I was able to finish in less than 3 months. So 90 days. So when I talk about 90 days, I know about 90 days. I have some very specific goals for the next 90 days. I know exactly how it's going to play out, but because I've done it many, many times before. But the key thing there for me was in my situation when I was looking to graduate from school and I had to take 27 credits. If I didn't finish in those 27 credits in those 3 months and graduated, I was going to have to pay full price for my tuition the next year. I had a small scholarship, and it was going to run out by that particular graduation date. So to say I was motivated because I had the fear of loss. And ladies and gentlemen, the truth of the matter is that people are more motivated by what they have to lose than by what they have to gain. And part of this whole process of choosing dynamic goals for the next 90 days is to start to see your goals as if you have something to lose. So when you have that fear factor in place, fear can be a good thing. It can serve you. But most people let it scare them out of actually taking action. But if you get to the place where you're so focused on your goal, it's specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, it's relevant, and you have a specific time limit on when you need to achieve that goal by, and it's a must, man, it's amazing the things that can happen. When I applied for graduation, needing 27 credits to graduate 3 months out from the graduation date, the registrar at my school literally thought I was applying for graduation for the next year. I had to show them, no, I'm talking about in 3 months. They let me do it, and I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I knew I was going to do it because I had to do it. And yes, I was able to graduate in time. I marched, didn't have to take any more classes. I've got everything done by graduation. It's amazing what can happen when you set SMART goals. So write this down again: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. If you're setting a goal for yourself for the next 90 days, judge it by this criteria. Ask yourself this: is it specific? If it isn't, you know that you got work to do on that goal. Don't even start talking about how you're going to triple your income in the next 90 days unless you know specifically what that's going to look like. Is it measurable? Is it achievable? Is it relevant? And is it time-bound? All right. Now that you've got those ideas in place for setting SMART goals, you want to set a 90-day business goal like I just talked about. I want you to do this right now. Or if you're starting to kind of figure out what that would look like for you, then start writing it down. Start taking some notes right now and start to put your thoughts down on paper. I want this to be a group activity. You guys with me on that? So make it something that we're doing together. Be specific. We're going to put together an action plan and be prepared to track and measure your results as well. All right, some key goal setting tools. If you're not sure kind of what to set your goal for those of my friends in network marketing, a good place to start is by the particular rank that you want to be in your business. Now, when I talked about being specific, choosing a rank that is not relevant to your income goal doesn't make sense. Like if you're choosing to hit a big rank in your company, let's say it's supercalifragilisticexpialidocious ambassador, right, in your particular company, and you set a goal to hit that because you're going to get a big bonus check and you want to be appreciated. It's like a major thing in your company, but your goal is only to make $1,500 a month, and that goal or that idea of hitting this big rank is like a $20,000 rank, then that's the wrong goal to set. You set the goal the rank according to the income goal that you want to do. Does that make sense? So number 2, of course, is income. So look at your compensation plan and figure out if in the next 90 days, if I want to make $1,500 a month, if I want to make $15,000 a month, what rank do I need to be in my business to make that happen? Number 3 is then to set an activity goal. This is huge. So you could go through the whole process of setting up SMART goals and then miss the goals completely because you didn't do the other part, which was taking action. And if you don't schedule your action, you won't get your action done. For sure, you will not get your action done. So take the time, as soon as this is done, as soon as we're done with this webinar, as soon as you figure out your goal, to schedule into you will also figure out what kind of activity it's going to take to help you reach your goal, but schedule into your calendar the activity, when you're going to build your business, when you're not going to build your business. And by the way, if you're planning on taking a vacation in the next 90 days and you're looking at tripling your income, you're fooling yourself. You might want to wait until you come back to start that 90-day run. I'm being very, very transparent with you guys. So many times we set goals that we'd like to do. Oh, that'd be great. How many times have you enrolled someone in your business that says, oh man, my mortgage is due, I need to sign up, right? Or my rent's due, I have to make this happen. I'm getting behind on my credit cards, I have to make this happen. They sign up, they pay the money, whatever it is to get signed up, and then they disappear, right? It's like, it boggles my mind. But that's the same thing that a lot of us do, even if we don't disappear in the business. We may still show up for trainings, we may still plug into events, but we don't actually do the activity, the actual action that it takes to really build our income. I'm going to talk with you guys a little later on specifically what that activity is and what it should be for you. And also choose a special reward. All right, now, achieving the goal itself, that's cool, right? That's cool. And it'll give you a nice feeling once you've hit that goal. But you should also give yourself a special reward on top of that. So that's something you want to think about. And for you, it's something that gets you exciting. Maybe it's you take a 3-day vacation and you just run away for a simple mini retirement. Or you take your kids out somewhere, you buy some new clothes, or you get yourself a new wardrobe, or you get your significant other something really nice, or whatever it is, something specific to you that'll get you really excited, so that you're rewarding yourself with a reward, not necessarily with just more work, but with a reward. All right. Now, specificity is something I've been talking about pretty much since we started this webinar, if I haven't called it that by name yet. And specificity is it's a funny word to say, specificity, but here's what it really boils down to, is being specific. And again, I talked about this earlier, but it's worth repeating. How much money would it be if you tripled your income? Not only how much money, but how much activity do you have to do every single day? How many days is it going to take? All that kind of boiling it all the way down to where you have it scheduled out. Also then looking into your compensation plan and figuring out if there's a particular bonus you can qualify for or some specific part of your comp plan that'll help you reach that goal. Knowing exactly what that is. And it's different based on every single company, but you need to know what that is. Again, be specific on the amount. So, getting started, as we get ready to go into part 2 of our training, you must know where you are before you can see the path to where you are going. Sounds like something Yoda would have said, right, from Star Wars. Actually, we met a friend down in Dominican Republic. He's a world-renowned speaker, and he's crazy about Star Wars. And when he found out that I actually never have seen Star Wars, it took quite a while for me to calm him down. He couldn't believe I'd never seen it, and I still haven't. So haven't quite found the time yet. But anyway, you must know where you are before you can see the path to where you are going. What that means is look in the mirror right now. Look in the mirror and see where it is that you are. A lot of times we want to look to, and my wife and I were having this conversation earlier. We're looking at where we are in relation to where it is that we want to go. All of us have to do that. It's cool to have a great goal for yourself, to look to where it is that you want to go, but you also have to be realistic about where it is that you are right now and what you're willing to do about it. You can't get from point A to point B if you don't know what point B is, and you certainly can't get from point A to point B if you don't know what point A is either. It's like losing weight. If you say that I want to lose 20 pounds, how would you know if you've lost 20 pounds if you have no idea how much you weigh right now? If you weighed 150 pounds, you lost 20 pounds, you went to 130. When you got to 130, you'd know that you reached your goal, right? But if you don't know how much you weigh right now, and for a lot of folks, especially when it comes to losing weight, they're scared to hop on the scale. It's such a tough thing to do because they don't want to look at reality. Or when you're looking at your bank account, you don't like what you see. There was a long time in my whole business career, my first 2 years, I didn't even want to look at my bank account because there was nothing there to see. But it would just scare me if I looked at it more. So I totally get that, but you have to see where it is you start. Don't dwell on where you are, but get a very clear picture of what that is. All right. Now, number one, guys, like I said, we could have spent an entire day just talking about goal setting. We could have spent an entire couple of days on goal setting. But I really, hopefully you feel excited right now. Do you feel excited about what you can do, about being specific, about spending time setting some smart goals for yourself instead of some dumb goals, all right? Is that exciting for you? What about discipline? This is something that is also talked about a lot, but it's not necessarily taught so much in our culture anymore. We have this culture, especially here in the United States, of, oh, you can do whatever it is that you want. You can be whoever it is that you want to be and all this kind of stuff. And, growing up, that's one of the things that was interesting for me. I kind of rebelled against my parents' discipline. I don't know if you can relate to that. I was a pastor's kid. So don't judge me for that because already, pastor's kids have a bad reputation. And probably deservedly so for most of us. Mine definitely wasn't as deserved as it should, the reputation I had. A lot of people just thought, oh, he's a pastor's kid, he's going to be a bad kid. And so that was unfair. But at the same time, I didn't like all the restrictions that was placed on me. And so that was one of the challenges that I've had in business, is disciplining myself. Yes, I'm a hard worker. I'm a really, really, really hard worker. But if I'm really honest with myself, and I'm gonna be transparent with you, hopefully in the way that'll help you become transparent with yourself. How disciplined have I been over my career? I'll tell you quite honestly, I've started and stopped more times than I've kept going. It's the times that I kept going and not just staying in the game. I'm not talking about not quitting the business. I'm talking about continuing to do the activity that you know it takes to be successful every single day, whether you see the results or not. That is something that very, very, very few people possess, but the people that possess that kind of discipline typically possess the lifestyle and the income that so many of us wish for and would love to achieve. So it would be silly for us to talk about this 90-day run to tripling your income without talking first about goal setting, but discipline. And discipline by Jim Rohn, this is what Jim Rohn said, I love it. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Whatever your goal may be, if you have the discipline, it can be the bridge to help you achieve it. Good things come to those who wait, perhaps, but better things come to those who work for it. So let's talk about being really, really focused and disciplined, and what that's going to look like for the next 90 days. I'm going to be really honest with you guys right now, is that there's several different things that we all have to do better. And if you're willing to risk spending some time for the next 90 days working really, 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 really hard for the reward that you have set down in your goals, and you want to risk maybe even failing at the same time. Now, failing is only failure if you quit. If you give up and say, oh, this is not going to work, I'm done with this. There's no such thing as real failure unless you quit. Failure really comes to mean if you keep going, you just learn some things that didn't work if you take the time to recognize that. But so many times, how many times, let me ask you this, how many times have you set a goal for your business? You even sat down with a mentor. You got in a webinar, maybe like this. You attended a training event. You got all fired up, got all excited, right? Got all excited. Went home, and within a couple of days, that excitement had kind of worn off. And be honest, because we're being honest with ourselves right here. If we really want to get to the next level, we need to be honest with ourselves, right? And what's interesting about this is I actually heard from the very second I stepped into business, one of the first pieces of advice I was given was to be coachable. Now, I thought that being coachable simply meant to not reinvent the wheel, to follow the system, to follow what my leaders were telling me to do, to do what they were telling me to do, all right? Now, here's what's interesting. Over the last couple of years, especially recently, even though I have followed advice that was given to me, I've realized how uncoachable I actually am, especially when I start to get a little bit of success. That ego starts to kick in. Have you guys ever experienced that, where you start to kind of coast? Oh, yeah, things are going well, and now you're starting to feel good, and then you hit a wall, and you're trying to figure out what happened, right? You blame everything else except for yourself, and that was me, blaming everything. When one of our businesses fell apart, and we were going through one of the most challenging times of our life, I can remember distinctly how I got caught up in this whole thing of blaming everybody else and instead of myself. And I was literally numb, not ready to take action. So if we're going to be honest with ourselves and really commit to tripling our income in the next 90 days, here's what we have to first be. Be coachable. But don't just be coachable to the point where you take notes and you think about, okay, this is great, I'm going to, this will work for me, I'm going to apply it. Being coachable means following through and actually taking action on what it is that you were told to do. Big difference between just taking in information and applying it. You're really coachable if after this webinar you actually go and do what we're talking about doing in this webinar, but not just doing it for a day, not just doing it for 2 days, not just doing it for 10 days, for 30 days, for 60 days, for 89 days. That's not being coachable. Being coachable is doing it for 90 days of following through on the commitment that we made to ourselves, you to yourself and me to myself, for example. Being coachable means really following through. And so let me ask you this, how coachable have you been? If you haven't been that coachable, if you can look yourself in the mirror and be honest, and chances are, like myself, you haven't been that coachable yet. So then here's what we have to ask ourselves. If we haven't gotten the results that we want, you have to ask yourself in your business this, I have to ask myself this question as well. If we haven't gotten the results we want, how coachable have we been? And are we ready to do whatever it takes in order to be coachable? Truth is, too, it's going to be tough. That ego is going to kick in. That ego is going to try and kick in and turn things upside down. And reality is you have to weigh your bank account with your ego and figure out which one weighs more. All right? Develop yourself. If you commit to tripling your income in the next 90 days, not only would you have tripled your income, you would also have pretty much tripled yourself of who you are, because the income is just a reflection of the value that you've created in the marketplace. So to get 3 times the income back, you have to create 3 times the results. And in my mind, that means become 3 times the person that you are right now. So you have to commit to developing yourself through this 90-day journey. You have to respect your time. That comes down to being disciplined. You have to respect others' time as well. And again, never ever give up. Just because you set this goal, just because now you've decided to become disciplined, part of being disciplined means not giving up. But not giving up also means not giving up on the activity. So many of us give ourselves A+ for not quitting our businesses. But if we've stopped doing the activity and we're just coasting, isn't that the same thing? Even though we haven't publicly said, oh, I'm out of the business, oh, I'm done, I'm not doing this thing. We haven't said anything like that. Posted on Facebook, I'm never doing this stuff again. Those network marketing things, they don't work, right? Just because we didn't do that doesn't mean we didn't quit. That was a hard lesson for me to realize, for sure. So maybe it is for you too. And now let's talk a little bit more about the reality. Now, this is something that I'm going to kind of maybe go against the grain of what you've heard from maybe some other trainers or some other leaders in the industry that teach. Every single day you need to just talk to 2 people. All right, here's why I say that, because if you're just looking to maintain your business, then talking to 2 people a day over the course of 30 days is a good idea. But most people, when you say 2 people a day, they think, okay, I can do that. 30 days, that's 60 people. That's great. Actually, that's phenomenal. Phenomenal. If you can talk to 60 people in a month, your business is going to grow. If you can present to 60 people in a month, your business is going to grow. But here's the reality. Because it's easy to do, only talking to 2 people a day, first day you may talk to 2 people. Cool. Second day, 2 people. Third day, oh, I had to pick up the kids. Didn't quite get to my 2 people. I'll get to it tomorrow. Fourth day, oh man, that training webinar was awesome, but it got done so late that I wasn't able to actually get on the phone and call my prospects. Next thing you know, by the end of the 30 days, you've only talked to how many people? 6 people, and you talked to them on the first 3 days. So you want to set a much more aggressive goal for yourself. Yes, if you follow through and only talk to 2 people a day for 30 days, you would have definitely seen a huge growth in your business. But you sometimes have to set a bigger goal to give yourself the real chance to get scared, to get a little nervous, to really stretch yourself, to give yourself the chance to make it. So I shoot, and I would recommend to stretch yourself for 10 plus new people a day that see your company's presentation, that you personally are showing the business to, on top of helping happen within your organization. Of course, again, I'm talking to network marketers specifically here. And not just set that goal for yourself, but also focus on helping your team get that kind of activity going. It may just start with you in the beginning, but when your team starts to see, or if it's just you and your business, you're brand new, and you start talking to 10 people a day, and you do that over 3 days, that's 30 people. Or let's say you fell short, and you only talk to 5 people a day. That's 15 people already. So just by setting a higher goal and committing for it and reaching for it, you gave yourself a much better chance of actually hitting your goal as well, guys. So you want to set bigger activity goals, 10 times what you expect to get. And by the way, there's a really good book, quick book plug real quick, to get from Grant Cardone. It's called the 10X Rule, about how you should multiply everything you want in life and what you're willing to give for it by 10. That'll definitely stretch you a little bit. So while you're going through this 90-day thing and you're working your personal development, I would definitely recommend that book as well. Set a daily networking goal. The 2 things that people struggle with the most in business, in this business in particular, is running out of people to talk to and just not talking to the people that they actually have to talk to. It's those 2 things. So set a daily networking goal of how many new contacts you're going to add to your list. And I'll share with you guys how to do that a little bit. Well, we're running close on time, so I'll see if I can sneak that in a little later on, some of the top tips on how to do that. But also set a daily prospecting goal as well. But you also have to look at some potential distractions. It's so great to say, oh yes, I'm going to be making $3,000. I'm going to triple my income in the next 90 days. Or I'm going to go from $3,000 a month to $9,000 a month in the next 90 days. That feels so good to do that. But here's what we oftentimes ignore. We ignore that there might be some distractions that come up and we don't prepare for them. So you need to prepare for the distractions that are going to inevitably come along the way. Just because you set a goal, and just because you're disciplined and to follow through on it, doesn't mean that you're going to get the result that you want. You're going to have to overcome some challenges. Challenges like your negative friends and family. How are you going to deal with that? If you have a negative spouse, that can be pretty challenging too. You have a negative best friend, a negative aunt, a negative uncle, or something like that. If someone who's close to you who doesn't believe in your dream, you have to inoculate yourself from them. Absolutely. It'd be silly to go into this, to make this kind of commitment and not deal with some of these potential distractions. Social media, though we are on social media constantly, how much of the time you spend on social media is actually helping you grow your business? If you're really honest with yourself. Now, I've grown my business, Eileen as well with hers, a lot through Facebook. And if I'm really honest, a lot of the time that I'm on Facebook is not necessarily just to build my business. I'm just scrolling through the newsfeed. So not really the best time spent. All right, so be really honest about that. Self-doubt. This is why really personal development and going on a personal development journey as well on this 90 days is so important, to build your belief, to keep putting in the activity when you have a bad day, to keep showing up to do the work even when you don't feel like it. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the bottom line is successful people do what unsuccessful people are not willing to do, even when they don't feel like doing it. Or being around people who don't share your vision. Maybe your team isn't ready to move, and you got to go build a whole brand new team. Or you have people that sign up and they quit. Or you have people who don't see the vision of even joining your business or your product line at all. Another potential distraction or really challenge could be running out of people to talk to as well. So how are you going to inoculate yourself? How are you going to prepare for this mission of tripling your income in the next 90 days? That's something to think about as well. What kind of distractions are you going to have to overcome? I'd start by writing those down right now and starting to brainstorm some ways to get around them ahead of time so that when you start to face these challenges, you can say, oh man, I remember being on that webinar with Matthew. He told me this is going to happen. He told me that I was going to get some objections. I was going to have some negative family. I was going to have someone, or a boyfriend or girlfriend say, you're not hanging out with me anymore. That whole business thing, it's just distracting you. You don't love me. Like those kinds of things. Do you have to have a conversation with some people that are significant in your life before you go on this 90-day run to let them know what it is that you're going to do? And when you do that, let them know what the rewards are going to be, why you're doing it as well. Bottom line, folks, is if you suffer, you can suffer the pain of discipline or you can suffer the pain of regret. Either way, you're going to deal with some kind of pain. You might as well get a reward for it. So guys, let's finish up by talking about strategy. And we've spent a lot of time. Strategy is actually the easiest and the simplest part. That really is. 80% of this whole thing is why it needs to happen, why it has to happen for you. And that's part of the whole goal setting process of getting clear with that. And if you're clear on that, then it'll give you an edge on being disciplined. The how of this is 20%. It's very, very simple, very, very basic. So let's run through this. Here's some things you want to do immediately. Choose the dates for your 90-day run. When are you going to start this 90-day blitz to triple your income? Are you going to start tonight? Are you going to start tomorrow morning? I'd say start tonight or as soon as possible. If you're going on vacation next week, then start after vacation. Don't fool yourself. The 11th commandment in this business is thou shalt not fool thyself. You need 90 days of absolute focus. Now, will every 90 days, every day out of the 90 be perfect? No. Most of them won't be even close to it. But you need to be in an area and an environment and a schedule where you can focus and get to work. You want to set up an event at the end of that 90-day run with your team. So you're going to do a launch sequence with your team. Whether you've been in the business for 6 months, 6 years, whatever. You're launching your business. It's a very, very different mindset for someone who's just starting their business. People who start businesses never become successful. People who launch businesses tend to go out and create massive wealth because wealth follows speed, and that's why you can get so much done in 90 days. You can do more in 90 days than you can in a year sometime because of the focused effort, because of that short time frame. But you want to set up an event at the end of that 90-day run to celebrate the victory and get your team involved in this. Maybe have a top leader from your company or from your upline get together with you and some of the key leaders and plan to do an event, maybe in your city or in a particular market or destination event, and start promoting for that event now. And let people know that that event is going to be so mind-blowing, it will completely change their lives, but it's 90 days away. And not only do they want to be at that event, but they want to be there with you, people on their team. And you create that kind of atmosphere and anticipation where people just want to be around it. It's an electric kind of environment. It's amazing how much faster people can make decisions to join your team and to get running when they're in that kind of environment. So set that event up as the deadline and set that goals around that, okay? Also then, within your team, develop a mastermind group and meet with them regularly to see how everyone's doing, to keep you accountable, to help hold them accountable. And you know, in the book Napoleon Hill wrote about Think and Grow Rich, he talks about mastermind groups and how when more than one mind comes together to mastermind, it creates a third and greater mind because you have ideas being shared and knowledge being shared and experiences being shared, and everyone benefits better from that. My wife's in a mastermind group right now with some incredible entrepreneurs, and their businesses are growing together because they're able to share from each other's experiences. So don't rob yourself of that experience. Who are some people right now that that would hold you accountable, that are willing to stretch, to triple their income in the next 90 days? Even if it's one other person, even if it's no one in the beginning, if it's just you and your business, look within your team as you're starting to go on this run by yourself of who's really locked in and who's really fired up by what they see in you, and then spend time with them and invite them into that mastermind group. Number 4 then is to plan your launch sequence. How many conference calls are you going to be doing a day? How many home events are you going to be doing? How many webinars are you going to be doing? How many parties, if that's what you're doing? Whatever presentation platform you're using to share your business with other people, how much of that kind of activity are you going to be doing every single day? Schedule this out. The name of the game is exposure, 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 exposure. And so around this, you can use social media to really create buzz. You can create a Facebook group, for example, for that mastermind group that's excited, that's where people can share ideas and keep in touch and keep motivated for the run. You can also set up a Google Calendar, which I recommend. Mine gets synced up with my phone, and it actually, so I get reminders and all kinds of stuff. I know where I'm supposed to be, because I definitely lose track without it. So you want to be, part of being disciplined is being well planned out. So definitely use a tool like Google Calendar. It's free. Number 3 here, tools used is live events or webinars, conference calls, in-home presentations, one-on-ones, weekly presentations. Whatever system you're currently running with to build your business, if you don't have one, I'll recommend one in a couple minutes when we close out. ooVoo or Hangout for your mastermind group. We love video conferencing, and ooVoo is actually a free app that you can put on your smartphone or your computer that allows up to 12 people at a time to do a video conference all at the same time. It's really, really cool. Number 5, again, that is that two-word sentence, that phrase, personal development. Commit to it. Now, here's the key. You want to focus your time on income-producing activities over 90 days. 90 days of income-producing activities. Notice I didn't say earlier on that when you schedule out your day that you're going to be, when do you call your team to see if they're, all this kind of stuff. I'm just assuming you're already doing that kind of stuff, that you're promoting events, you're getting your team plugged in, you're following up with all customers and all that kind of stuff. That does not make you a whole lot of money, just so you know. But that is what a good leader does. You definitely want to do that. But that is not the main income-producing activities. Management is not a key piece of your business. When you go into management mode, your business is getting ready to fall apart. When you're just trying to manage everybody, it's very, very, very tough to build momentum. Or you can't manage yourself into the next rank. You don't manage your team into getting yourself promoted. You lead your team. So what should you be focused on? Really simple. Income-producing activities. Income-producing activities. What is that? Enrolling new distributors in your business and enrolling new customers in your business. There's a really simple rule of thumb. It's the 80-20 rule. Pareto's principle says that 80% of production gets done in 20% of time. That 20% of the activity that we do produces 80% of the results. So what's the 20% activity that we should be doing in our business, that we should be doing 80% of our time on? It's talking to new people, bringing on new people into the business. So part of your focus right now, if you want to create momentum in your business, is go out and enroll 10 new people into your business in the next 30 days. Go out and enroll 20 people into your business in the next 30 days. That's my goal. In the next 30 days, my goal is to enroll 20 brand new people into business. I've done it before. I'm going to do it again. And out of 20 people, you'll probably find 1 or 2 people that'll be just as excited as you are about the business, and that can be the mastermind group that you can start to build together with and run with, and like iron, sharpen iron. But the key thing there again is to focus on your key income-producing activities, enrolling new people and enrolling customers, and helping people do the same thing within your team. So guys, so far in our time together, here's what we've covered. Mistakes that network marketers have made in building their businesses. We've talked about a lot of different ones. Even if I didn't have a particular slide for that, we definitely covered that. Number 2 is the 3 steps to triple your income in 90 days. We went through them. Goal setting, discipline, and strategy. We just talked about those 3. At the same time, we may not have seemed like we've talked about number 3, but we actually have. How to train your team to triple their income. Do you know how to train your team? The best way to train your team is not to tell them what to do, is to show them what to do. When they see you enrolling people, when they see you showing up to events, when they see you plugging in, they see you setting yourself on fire and running like your life depends on it, more often than not, they're going to be inspired by that kind of activity. And they're going to look at themselves and say, you know what, whatever he or she is on, I need to get on that because I don't want to miss out on that. But they won't see that unless you get fired up, unless you get really focused, unless you set the goals, unless you become really disciplined, unless you put that strategy together like we just talked about and schedule out your launch and run like your life depends on it. Because for a lot of us, your life does. Your dream life could pretty much depend on what you do the next 90 days. How crazy is that? The life that you want to live could happen for you if you did all this. What's the worst that could happen if you committed for the next 90 days to doing everything we talked about and putting in 100% of your effort to see what that looks like? Personally, I don't even know what 100% of my own effort looks like. I'm willing to find out. That's kind of the mindset I'm in right now. And I'm so fired up, I'm ready to go and see what 100% effort looks like, all out. I've been around some incredible leaders in this industry, and when they put in their best effort, my goodness, they move. So I've gotten a chance to see what their 100% looks like. You've probably seen what 100% effort looks like from some top leaders in your company. You've seen them walk across stage, and maybe you've had the opportunity to be around them. That doesn't matter what their effort looks like. What does your effort look like? That's how you train not only yourself but your team, by stretching and putting in the best kind of activity that you possibly can. So for those of you that are ready to step up and take the challenge and create the lifestyle and the income of your dreams by tripling your income in the next 90 days, and you're looking for the next step, okay, what do I do next? Where can I plug into to give me the kind of training, the resources, and what I really need on this journey? Here's what I want to introduce to you really quickly as we close out here. We just actually reopened enrollment for MLM Breakthrough Academy. It's in a dynamic platform where Eileen and myself share all of our top tips, techniques, and strategies with people from all around the world. Doesn't matter what company you're in, even really what business you're in, to be able to get a six-figure income and to not only build up your level of information, your level of knowledge, but your level of skill. So here's how this works. Our concept was this. We know that there are a lot that without good information, you're not going to have good activity. Yes, you can get all fired up, get excited and all that kind of stuff, but you still need to be able to sharpen the axe, to be able to understand how to find people to talk to, how to attract people to you, how to develop influence, how to duplicate. Every single dynamic of the business that you need to master that as well. Not just learn it, but master it. And so what we thought of was, why don't we create an online platform where all of the lessons and insights and training resources and everything we've learned, we put it all online so people all around the world can participate in it. And then we had this idea, okay, so why don't we just create a platform where people can go out there and access the training that they need every single month when they need that specific training. Like if someone wants to learn how to use blogging, if someone wants to learn how to use email marketing, if someone wants to learn how to use Facebook prospecting and how to really crush it with Facebook, or how to become a better leader, how to set up dynamic events, how to overcome objections, the entire process, video marketing mastery, all kinds of content and information that's available for someone when they need it. Because what we've realized in our own journey in this industry, there's some information that you don't need to know. And it actually can slow you down on your journey to where it is that you want to get to. So you need to have a roadmap laid out for you. And that's what the MLM Breakthrough Academy is. In fact, what we did is also put our flagship training, the 5-figure formula, on top of all the other courses that are in here. I'll run through what the value is in a second. The 5-figure formula is what you get access to immediately. When you subscribe to the MLM Breakthrough Academy, you can open up new courses every single month that you need that are specific for you, for your business. But you'll automatically get the 5-figure formula free right away. How to make money even when your prospects say no, so that you're not running out of cash while you're building your business, all right? Huge, huge lesson. Huge, huge lesson. The 5-figure formula, the specific formula that you need to know in order to go out there and really make 5 figures a month inside of your business. How to avoid the pitfalls of traditional MLM. MLM's not perfect. There are some pitfalls in it, and you need to know what they are and how to avoid them. How to never have to prospect again. Can you imagine what it'd be like to, just by being the person who you are and having the kind of influence in the marketplace, that you attract people to you, whether it's online or offline? How to actually do that, and really specifically how to do that online. It's incredible information that's transformed so many businesses around the world. Even step-by-step instructions on how to really leverage the entire 5-figure formula and put yourself in a position where you have this running for you online, so that you're able to build a global business leveraging one of the most dynamic tools to ever come across society, which is the internet. Now here's who it's for. It's for network marketers looking for a breakthrough in their business. If you're not looking for a breakthrough, tripling your income is a breakthrough. So I'm assuming that would be you. All right, I'm assuming. I may be wrong. It's not for everybody. Or it's for network marketers who are looking to a step-by-step process to really leverage online marketing strategies. There's a lot of offline strategies there as well. But initially, you're going to get a lot of online stuff as well to really get you going. And that's something that you definitely will need to build your business in the 21st century. Who it isn't for are people who are lazy, who are uncoachable. We talked about that earlier. It's definitely not for someone who doesn't want to build their MLM business and leverage all the tools that today's modern world has, like the internet. So now you have an idea if it's for you or not. Here's what you're going to get. You're going to get access to our 6-figure catalog of trainings. Now, instead of, imagine being able to sit down with Eileen and myself one-on-one. Just so you know, Eileen charges 10 grand a week for like 5 days to sit down with her. So for most people, that's going to be a little bit out of reach. So you're not going to have to spend that. But to be able to get the same information that you might get directly from us as part of your subscription every month by accessing our 6-figure catalog is literally over $40,000 value for the year. It's not a yearly subscription. It's just month to month. You can cancel whenever, right? So no contract, none of that kind of stuff. But that catalog of content that's there is absolutely mind-blowing. You'll also get the 5-figure formula already just by when you subscribe. You have access to a monthly mastermind and training call that Eileen and I do. I'm actually getting ready to do one for the MLM Breakthrough Academy coming up pretty soon, which is exciting in and of itself. We'll be able to really dive into people's businesses and help them specifically grow their businesses based on the issues that they're dealing with. And so when you become a member of the MLM Breakthrough Academy tonight, that's something that you can access every single month and be able to ask us questions, as well as you get complimentary access to a very small and very private Facebook group on Facebook so that you can get support, networking, and education to really help you grow your business. Now, of course, we didn't want to charge the $40,000 a year, which is what it's worth. And like I said, Eileen's herself alone, when she sits down and takes on one-on-one clients, not to say that it's cheap, it's definitely not cheap, but $10,000 of Eileen's time is still, I think, very, very affordable when you consider what you get. But you're not going to have to spend that to get access to both of our content. You'll be able to access this for just $47. You can try it out right away, $47. You get started right now. So we actually just opened up enrollment for the next 72 hours, and the ticker is already running. I believe it'll end, this offer will end on Saturday night, and then we're going to close enrollment, at least open enrollment for a period of time until who knows when. So you definitely, if you know that you're ready to step up, you need that kind of coaching and guidance in your business to help you get to where it is you want to go, you definitely want to get signed up immediately. Isn't that exciting to be able to access groundbreaking information that's proven, that's step-by-step, that is absolutely out of this world in terms of the results that it's gotten for other people, and imagine what it could do for you simply by getting started for just $47 and trying it out, and you'll have access to the 5-figure formula right away. So the total value of all of this stuff, guys, is over $54,000. But the real value in this is not necessarily the number that's on the screen. What would an extra 6 figures this year be for you? What would the ability to triple your income in the next 90 days? What would that be worth to you? The smile on your face, the satisfaction, the knowingness that you did what you set out to do, the feeling that now money is maybe no longer an issue for you, the ability to travel more, to spend time with your kids. That, for me, I don't know if you can put a price tag on it. And so to be able to get it for just $47, access to that incredible platform, I think is it's literally the least affordable we can make it to give everyone access right now for this open enrollment period that'll end on Saturday night. So again, guys, if that's for you, go ahead and take advantage right now. All you have to do to get signed up is to go over to MLMBreakthroughAcademy.com/live, L-I-V-E. And you can get signed up right away. You'll have your access emailed to you. You'll be able to access the 5-figure formula training tonight and go through, I think there's like 6 modules. And then you can go through the other courses and look to which kind of information you'd like to learn over the next 90 days. Either way, guys, I really, really do hope that this information has been valuable to you. I've put everything I could into this. I'm losing my voice in the process of sharing this with you, but hope you can feel the passion from my end of the screen. What I would like to do with you right now is just to challenge you that over the next 90 days you truly can live the lifestyle of your dreams if you're willing to take action and follow what we just talked about here. But you have to do that for yourself, and you have to step up and make sure that more of you shows up in the world for you to be able to get the results that you want. If you want to have better, you got to do better. If you want more in life, you got to do more. Now it's time to do more and to do better. I'm going to be doing the same thing the next 90 days, guys. Let's see what we can create together the next 90 days, and we'll look back on this 90-day run as one of the best decisions we've ever made. So for those of you getting started right now with the MLM Breakthrough Academy, that is That's an incredible, great first step towards creating the lifestyle of your dreams over the next 90 days. We welcome you on board. We're super excited to take this journey with you. For those of you who aren't, hey, fantastic. Not a problem at all, but still commit to changing your life the next 90 days and tripling your income. So from someplace in Florida, this has been Matthew Harrison. My challenge to you until we talk again is that you dream and then find a way. God bless, guys.